If you plan on stepping into higher level content like monster missions, raid or incursions, you need a proper foundation build. Not a random mix of high rolls or half-optimized experiments, but a proven setup that carries you through the scaling difficulty and makes you valuable in a team. Most groups expect it, not because they're elite, but because damage checks are real. If your input is too low, the entire team feels it. Not to mention going after the higher difficulty content solo. So, in this video, we're building your first true endgame setup. Something you can farm quickly, something that scales as you optimize it, and something that doesn't collapse the moment enemies get tanky. We'll cover what to farm, why it works, how to prioritize stats, and how to start optimizing without wasting materials. By the end, you won't just understand the build, you'll understand the system behind it, so future builds get easier. If you're starting fresh or coming back after a long break, this is the turning point. Watch this through, build it step by step, and you go from barely scratching armor bars to walking into higher difficulty content, knowing your damage can carry its weight. To start building, we will need some explaining done so you can get the pieces you need, but also help you get on your way to start optimizing this and many other builds. Needing materials, proficiency levels, stats, and most importantly, to know what you should look out for when obtaining massive amounts of loot. Luckily, the easier part is getting the gear together. This will make you ready for most of the content. However, the harder part will be looking for optimization, so best to get started while you can. Whenever you join any group, or maybe even watch content on YouTube or Twitch, you'll hear a lot about the Striker gear set. Since this has been the meta for a long time, it'll be our starting build and help you get some crucial gear, also used in many other builds. To get it up and running quickly, we'll go for 2 Brandsets, one of which is the Striker set. But why would you want the Striker? For the 2-piece bonus, you'll gain 15% weapon handling. This is a hybrid stat that simultaneously boosts stability, accuracy, reload speed, and swap speed. For the 3-piece set bonus, you'll gain 15% rate of fire. It doesn't need much explaining, but it's important for the 4-piece talent. For the final set bonus, you gain the talent Striker's Gamble, which causes weapon hits to increase total weapon damage by 0.65%, stacking up to 100 times. Every second, 1 stack is lost between 0 and 50 stacks, and 2 stacks are lost between 51 and 100 stacks. This is where the damage really comes from. The harder part is maintaining the stacks, which will be easier in longer fights. As in every special 4-piece gear set, the chest and backpack will give a boost to the bonus set. But for this build, we will not be using those. For those to work really well, you'll need better control of the stacks, and therefore, we will be getting gear to help you survive or get damage up easier. If you're curious about the chest piece and the backpack, here's what they do. The backpack talent, Risk Management, increases total weapon damage per stack from Striker's Gamble from 0.65% to 0.95%. And for the chest piece talent, it's called Press the Advantage, which increases max stacks of Striker's Gamble from 100 to 200 stacks, where 3 stacks are lost per second between 101 and 200 stacks. As for the second part of the build, we'll be looking at the Brandset unit alloys, to get the stacks up faster and to get you some more damage without building any stacks. This Brandset offers us the following. For the set bonus at 1 piece, it offers 5% rate of fire. And for the set bonus for 2 pieces, it has 20% assault rifle damage. Now, since we still need a chest piece and a backpack, we get the option for additional talents, which are only available for chest pieces and backpacks, not being offered for masks, gloves, holsters, or knee pads. This gives us a choice to go for either more damage or a bit of survivability. For the damage option on the chest piece, we want to go for the Obliterate talent, which causes critical hits to increase total weapon damage by 1% for 10 seconds, and it stacks up to 20 times. Or in case of the named chest piece from unit alloys, the Equalizer, this can stack up 4 times more to 24 stacks, totaling up to 24% extra weapon damage. For the option to add survivability to your build, you can go for the talent Unbreakable. This makes it so that every time your armor gets depleted, you instantly repair 95% of your armor, essentially doubling your armor with a cooldown of only 60 seconds. Now, our last piece of gear before getting into weapons is the backpack. Since we want to get the set bonus from unit alloys, which gives us an extra 20% assault rifle damage, this is what a backpack should provide. For the talent, we will also be looking at 2 options for either damage or survivability. For the damage option, you can go for Vigilance, to increase your weapon damage by 25% until you take damage from any source, disabling the buff for 4 seconds. This can work great for initial burst damage, but will mostly be down in longer fights. This brings us to the option for survivability. For this talent, Bloodsucker is an amazing option, giving you 10% bonus armor for 10 seconds every time you kill an enemy, stacking up to 10 times, essentially doubling your armor again. The moment you get these 6 pieces together, your damage will go up very noticeably. But whenever you want to do it really well, more in-depth attributes come into play. Getting these together will take some more time, but is all still very manageable in a couple of runs. More on the farming method later. For the core attributes, you should take a look at a combination of red and blue cores. When starting out, my suggestion would be to get around 1.3 million armor or above and start shifting the numbers as you either feel safe or need more damage, meaning you'll probably split into 2 red cores and 4 blue cores. Now, the part you should be taking a closer look at while farming for the gear pieces. To optimize your damage output, we prefer the minor attributes divided between crit chance and crit damage. For the crit chance, we ideally want 50 to 60%, since 60 is the max you can get, and want to get high enough chance to get enough crit shots in between, also empowering talents like Obliterate on the chest piece. The max 10% per piece it can roll on is 6% crit chance and 12% crit damage. This can be built on by putting mods into the mask, chest piece, and backpack, also adding another crit chance and damage. Whenever you reach 50% crit chance mark, put all other additions into crit damage, giving you a balance in the longer run for 50% crit chance and building crit damage early on from around 50% to optimizing it around 100%. Now it's not only your gear that provides these stats, but all guns come with mod slots to also stack up on crit chance, damage, or other stats when needed, like larger magazines. This finally brings us to the firepower. First, the specialization. We'll be going for the gunner option. This can be unlocked inside the White House at the specialization desk. Start doing the field research for it, providing you with some missions and challenges to get through, unlocking some gear on the way. When unlocked, you want to upgrade your weapon-specific upgrades on the bottom left, getting you another 15% assault rifle weapon damage with minimal investment. And then, going to the top to get 10% armor on kills, providing some extra survivability while fighting. Another really useful addition will be the Banshee pulls on the right side to stun enemies while engaging. This gets us to the main weapon we'll be using, also opening up a lot of choices to tune the build into what feels best for you. In the end, hitting bullets does the trick, so shooting guns that feel horrible for stats just won't do. Since the Striker set needs stacks to get higher damage numbers, and stacks built by hitting targets as much as possible, the higher RPM, rounds per minute, assault rifles work really well. Specific weapons that work for me were the FAMAS or the Police M4, but your personal feeling is the real reason you should choose any gun, as you'll be playing more and therefore unlock more options. As for the talent each gun provides, getting the killer talent on your gun raises your damage ceiling pretty hard again, offering plus 70% crit damage for 10 seconds whenever you kill an enemy with a critical hit, making the next kill also easier, and this keeps the damage train rolling. Truly amazing guns are the named assault rifle, the Lexington, or the exotic assault rifle, the St. Elmo's engine. Luckily, the division runs a lot of events changing almost weekly, where getting the Lexington is your best bet. As for the St. Elmo, this exotic weapon is in the general loot pool, making it way easier to get. Easy options to get exotics is going to do priority objectives and finding the ones rewarding exotic items. This doesn't take long per objective, making it so you can get multiple exotics per hour. While farming for these exotics, keep an eye out for gear pieces that fit into your build. A couple that will work really well with this and many other builds are the Overdog gloves or the Memento backpack. The Overdog gloves amplify your weapon damage, and this is one of the main components for most DPS builds. The Memento backpack is a very versatile option for good offense and defense, especially when playing solo. Another good option for farming is doing activities or overtaking control points so you can start retaliations from the map menu, offering chances for multiple rewards, among them blueprints to craft the exotic you're looking for. For the St. Elmo's, target True Sons activities and retaliations, making sure you eliminate the kill squads while moving between control points. For the secondary weapon, we like to have a shotgun, an ACS-12, or a named version of those, the Lefty, the rock and roll, or the stack broker. These will be used to build up stacks really fast, not even do damage. Since every hit from the pellet counts for the striker stacks to build up, and it also fires in full auto mode to do it even faster than any other weapon. Pistols we won't really be using, unless you get the quick step, which offers you 20% movement speed while holding and moving. Unfortunately, this gun is locked behind some events and not lootable daily. Lastly, the skills. For this, the recommendation is the Crusader Shield, offering you protection while shooting and basically becoming a moving cover. Add the Reviver Hive to this for when things get out of hand, giving you a second chance after being downed. Or the option to revive a teammate from a distance by throwing the hive to them when in need. Knowing all of this helps a lot, but you still need to get it all together. Especially early on, getting into countdown on challenging is a very good method to do so, providing you safety from teammates in a full group of 8 agents. While the amount of drops can get insane pretty fast, filling your inventory at high rates. Whenever you play countdown, you have the option to select targeted loot, meaning you can choose which type of gear or brand you want drop most. Since we've been looking out for only 2 sets, the Striker and the unit alloys, you'll get plenty of what you need in only a couple of runs, taking about 15 to 20 minutes each. What you should be looking out for are pieces offering parts of what you need, since every piece can be recalibrated for one specific attribute, meaning you don't need god rolls to drop, since you can manipulate the rolls and also optimize the pieces. Optimization, however, does take up quite some resources. Therefore, looking out for higher rolls needing less resources to be perfect. As you'll see pretty quickly, not every drop is usable right away. But before just deconstructing it all, you might want to take the time to break it down properly. For all the pieces you won't need, mark them as junk, and get into your library to extract the stats so you can use them for recalibration later on, for this build, but also for future ones you'll be building. Every piece still marked as junk, but not usable for extraction, can now be put into your expertise levels. While leveling, this takes a long time, but it does provide a significant increase on the long run. The earlier you start, the faster you become stronger. Doing this gains proficiency levels, providing extra weapon damage and armor. To make things easy, let's summarize the build, starting from the top. For the specialization, we pick Gunner, providing 10% armor on kill and 15% weapon damage. For the weapons, use higher RPM assault rifles, ideally with the talent Killer, for 70% critical damage increase. Secondary, get an ACS 12 variant to build striker stacks fast. The 4-piece striker set to build weapon damage per hit, utilizing the mask, gloves, holster, and knee pads. For the chest and backpack, use the unit alloys for higher rate of fire and 20% assault rifle damage. Adding Obliterate for more damage on the chest, and Bloodsucker on the backpack for survivability by getting bonus armor per kill. For the skills, use the Crusader Shield for protection while shooting and the Reviver Hive to forgive overcommitting. Completing this build makes it so you can get through higher level content more easy, but also providing strong foundation to experiment on further and even get you ready to join some groups for raiding and master missions. Luckily, this is only one variation to run. Love to hear how your build ended up in the comments. Let me know when any questions come up, because I'm happy to help you build. Else, I'll see you in the next one.